A very good afternoon to all, and welcome to Exneco's webinar series. Our topic for the day is harnessing technology for efficient water management. Despite being a water abundant nation, millions in India are affected by the global water and sanitation crisis. Geographical constraints, poor management practices, and excessive reliance on groundwater contribute to a water crisis in the country, which poses a significant threat to agriculture, productivity, and livelihoods. Modern technology plays a crucial role in advancing rural development, and the emergence of digital technology has further expanded its scope. The integration of innovation is driving a transformative shift in sustainable development in water management, which helps us to understand how water management and technology are intertwined. Our esteemed speakers of the day are Mr. Arjun R, Chairman and Managing Director, Paryavarni Engineers and Consultant Private Limited; Mr. Shuyash Mishra, Consultant and Business Development Associate at Sustainability Advisors. He's awaited. Mr. Sunil Ramareddy, Operations Project Lead at Hands On CSR. We welcome you all and are honored by your presence for the webinar. My first question goes to Mr. Arjun. Sir, kindly enlighten us on the role of technology in water management in India. Sir, you're muted, sir.
Sorry. Yeah, hello all. Good afternoon.
Good.
Technology plays a very vital role in water management, not only in India, even in any country, but especially in India, it is now being adopted very aggressively, and also it is even the government and even the private sectors are considering the technology as a very important tool for the water management within their premises or even outside their boundary also. So technology plays a very important playing a very important role in India, and technology has also helped to reduce the water consumption through implementation of smart water meters, rainwater harvesting systems, efficient irrigation technologies like drip irrigation, leak detection systems, usage of GIS, the geographic information systems, and reuse of treated wastewater in industrial applications, which is helping a lot to reduce the freshwater consumption, and compulsion of ZLD in industries, and advanced instruments for water quality monitoring. So these are the technologies that are helping the India to reduce its water consumption. And there are many case studies that are also available in the in India, which is showing us that usage of technology can substantially reduce the water consumption and also detect the inefficiencies in the system. For example, there is one city in Maharashtra which is called Shirpur Varwade. So this is a first city in India which implemented 100% implementation of smart water meters. So because of this, the city's water consumption was reduced by 33%. So which is a very substantial reduction. Otherwise, this 33% would have gone to loss, or even it would have went unaccounted. Likewise, even the leak detection systems. So leak detection systems can help to reduce the water losses in the distribution system by at least 10 to 20% is what the study says. And the reuse of treated wastewater for industrial applications. This is another area where the freshwater consumption has reduced even by more than 50%. A lot of industries now are implementing the water recycling systems like effluent treatment plants, RO systems, ZLD systems. So because of which, whatever their water requirement is there, in some category of industries, they are able to reduce their freshwater consumption by at least 50%, and in some cases it has even went up to around 80%. It depends on the type of the industry and the water quality required for them. So with all these measures, with all these technology advancements available in the current market, the water consumption in India has reduced very drastically in a lot of places, and still we have a lot of scope in even in public sector and also in private sector to impart technology, even to reduce the freshwater consumption, which is a very depleting resource now. Even a lot of Indian cities are actually striving for water availability, especially during summer times. So it is very important for us to use the technology available, not only advanced technology, even many other technologies which are already proven and already performing from very long time also can be implemented to ensure that these technologies can help us to reduce the water consumption.
Wonderful, sir. And that was a great input. In fact, if water consumption can be reduced in industries by 80% to 50%, and in domestic consumption can be reduced to 33% by using water meters and effective technologies, it's a great achievement. In fact, so that was really a very good input and a beautiful start to the session. So now I move on to the next question, which is to Mr. Shuyas Mishra. Globally, how use of technology has led to effective water management and solving of water crisis? Please elaborate with a few examples.
Sure. Thank you to you, and also happy to be on this panel. Um, as far as I'm just going to kind of mirror what the previous speaker was referring to. There are a lot of water treatment technologies already available, which have been developed over several decades, which can be implemented. I think what is playing out right now in the global stage is, I call it the trinity of environment, the three R's, the new three R's, which is regulation, risk, and regeneration. So the earlier modality of environmental work, including in water, was very heavily driven by regulatory standards, limits and things like that. And we had certain technologies which include like these large-scale water treatment plants and things like that, which primarily were set up in the West, didn't really work for developing countries like India, for various reasons, which we'll not go into right now. Then I think the whole paradigm shifted to the risk-based method, which was like, okay, we'll deal with it, and if it's an environmental risk, depending on how much of a risk it is, including to whether it's a risk to humans and their health, or ecologies and the broader ecological health. Um, and finally, now we are finally moving to a place where there is a growing recognition. This has been brought about primarily by the sustainability shift that's happening across the world, and the fact that all these technologies also kind of need to be regenerative. They just cannot address regulation and risk, because otherwise you're losing out on, you're not just either not doing harm and just complying with the law, but you're not doing something positive, right? So um, I think there are several examples of technologies. I can just mention a couple of them for now. Some of them that I've been involved with. One is responsive drip irrigation, or root-based drip irrigation, which is like a technology which allows the drip irrigation of plants without the use of any smart sensors or things like that. It's based on biotechnology, and you may have heard about mycosial networks. These are the ones which fungi kind of propagate throughout the soil. There is some suggestion by scientists that the mycosial networks probably encompass all of the earth in what could be called like a global living equivalent of the internet. But coming back to how it is relevant to irrigation is that it basically, over the last couple of decades, we found that when plants need water, they kind of exude or secrete certain uh, secretions from their roots. And this biochemically reacts to that and opens up pores without, again, like I said, the use of any sensors or anything like that. It's just a biochemical reaction. So the plants get water only when they need it. There is no overwatering, there's no underwatering. Um, so yeah, this is one example of a technology. Again, this is on the supply side. One easy way to kind of look at water related technologies is whether you're applying it at the source, the supply, or at the end point of use. Um, yeah, so moving towards the source again, we've been talking about this. One new development again in the kind of more sustainable regenerative space is, you might have heard of about this organization called SBTI in the kind of broader um, climate space, but there's also now a new organization called SBTN, Science Based Targets for Nature, and they are taking a much more holistic approach to to environmental response. And one of the new latest developments that they have come up with is a science-based freshwater use target. And interestingly, some companies in India, including GSK, have already, for the, I believe their Godavari basin already set a science-based target for reduction of their water use, as well as improving quality and those kind of things. So yeah, very quickly, I've hopefully tried to touch upon a couple of examples in response to the question that you presented, Shweta.
Yeah. So actually, beautifully said. In fact, drip irrigation is something which is very effective, and it can actually help in using water when it is needed. And plants have naturally been doing this, and there are many techniques that have to be applied, maybe at the source as well as the end use point, where water is being used, and these technologies can help in proper utilization of water, and very beautifully elaborated. So my next question goes to Mr. Sunil Ramareddy. What technologies are at present being used in India for water management, and which sector has been most prominent in use of these technologies?
Good afternoon, everyone. It's wonderful to be here along with other panelists here. So, I'll not be going in depth. I think two other previous speakers have given a brief few of the technologies already. Um, India, with its rapid expansion, we are leveraging a range of advanced technologies. Few are still in the grassroots levels, few are which are being extensively used across in many various sectors. The most prominent sectors utilizing these technologies is agriculture, is what I believe the most, because of the substantial water consumption, where around 80% of water is consumed by agriculture. So maybe we are in the tier one cities, we don't see so much of agriculture, okay, but we consider mostly using water for our daily uses. But considering the entire India, around approximately around 80% of water is being used in the agriculture sector itself. A few of the basic things, basic technologies that are being used are, one is the basic one, that is Internet of Things and sensor-based systems that we are using for smart water monitoring, where we detect the quality of water, then we detect leaks, and also optimize the distribution networks. And one great example of government initiative is that the Jal Jeevan mission, which has implemented the sensor-based IoT over 6 lakh villages to ensure safe drinking water. Second thing is precision agriculture, as Suez sir already mentioned. This is something related to the drip irrigation, where we efficiently use the water by monitoring these moisture levels. Earlier, we used to have a periodic timeline in our minds where we used to go water it continuously, or like alternative days or something like that. So now we are using these sensor-based systems where we detect the real-time soil moisture levels, and based on that, we irrigate these plants. Second is we also are using this artificial intelligence and machine learning to actually to have a predictive analysis. When we talk about the urban spaces with the previous data collected, that's going to predict us like where which are going to be the arid places or which will have a crisis of water in the upcoming timelines, where we can redistribute a lot of networking things where the water is like managed efficiently. That is, and also we have GIS that we are using. Arjun sir has mentioned. Basically, I consider GIS as a resource mapping where we use to identify a lot of potential areas for infrastructure development. When I say infrastructure development, giving an example, coming from Bangalore, so we actually get drinking water from Kaveri, which is 100 plus kilometers away from the city, and which is at a lower end basin. So we usually pump water from a lower end to the higher end. So this GIS is going to help us to build these pipelines, that is infrastructure, where we have minimum environmental impact. That is one of the technologies that we are using presently. And also interesting thing that a lot of scientists are working is again nanotechnology, where water purification is going to use a lot of nanoparticles that are going to help us in the purification systems. And also we have started seeing in the urban spaces the construction of wetlands. Wetlands is something that is being used across India, which has recently come to India, which was widely used across, especially in Southeastern Asia, countries a lot. Uh, Basically, we're using plants as a method to purify water by removing these nutrients like phosphorus and nitrogen, and by reducing the eutrophication, and where the water is at least reusable for the gardening purposes of the local maintenance. Since I'm from that sector, this is where we worked a lot. We've been working a lot to bring out more changes in this. And we also have this smart water meters, as mentioned. The as told before, the agriculture is one of the major sectors where technology is going to bring in a lot of changes, uh, like integration of IoT, AI driven, to enhance the crop yields, and also reduce dependency of what we are seeing nowadays, the unpredictable monsoons. So these are the things on a not on a brief but on a general basis that we are presently using across India.
So that was wonderful. So, wonderful to know that in India at present, there are so many methods being used. IoT is there, along with that AI and ML, and along with it, even GIS and even measuring metrics. Everything is being so many things are being used, and also water purification through plants. That is very interesting, and good to know that you work in that area. We would like to have more inputs on that as well during the course of the discussion. So I think this has set the tone for our further discussion. And my next question here goes to Mr. Arjun. When it comes to water management, what role does data collection play in the same, and which technical tools can assist in data collection?
Yeah, so data always plays a very major role in any sector it might be. There is one saying that one successful entrepreneur has said that I only believe in God and rest of all us bring data. So data is something that is very very important, based on which the decisions has to be taken. Decision should not be taken based on some assumptions or few inputs. So the data collection system has to be very robust in nature, which can help us to take decisions even in water management also. So this data collection system, for especially for water management, is not that easy, especially when we even consider for an municipal water distribution systems, or even for agricultural usages. So it is not that easy that data collection can be very easily done. There is a lot of resistance. There is a lot of problems, practical problems that are there on ground, which prevents the authorities or the concerned agencies to collect data regularly. But whatever may be the reason, but data collection has to be done, based on which only the decision has to be taken. Even for example, when we are deciding the water distribution network for a new area or a new city, so it's very important to have a data about population, the population forecasting, and the sectors that would be coming, like industrial, residential. So all these data are very, very important role. Just for an example. And likewise, even in any other sector, or in waterman, for in any other use also, data should be considered as a priority rather than taking a measure. So only with data and its analysis, not only having just data is sufficient, but doing a right analysis of the data in a right way is very, very important to come up with the right solution to a problem, or for any implementation of a project. There are many tools that are available for data collection now, that are being widely used in water sector also, water management sector. One is remote sensing and satellite imaging. So these are used in larger projects where maybe an entire area is being developed, like already said by Mr. Sunil. So that is one technological tool that is already available and being widely used, which is a very effective tool also. And IoT sensors and smart meters to collect the real-time data about the maybe water, or quality of the water, or the leak detection. So that is one thing. GIS, that is another powerful tool that can be used for spatial water data mapping and planning. Nowadays, even drones and UAVs are also being used for aerial water body monitoring, and even to detect any unwanted source of water coming into the water body, using the drones and UAVs is also being done. And there is a conventional system of SCADA, which is already being used in industrial automation very much. So this helps to collect the continuous data in the water distribution systems, or even in the industrial applications of maybe treatment plants. So SCADA is being widely used from a very long time already. And AI and machine learning, which is a new entrant into the water data collection in water management. So AI and machine learning is surely having a very good future, and it can be very much used in data collection, which helps to reduce the effort that is required to collect the data. So AI and ML is one more thing, and the cloud computing, that is also being used for data collection. So like this, there are many tools that are available in data collection, and even data also. So some of these tools can be even used for data analysis also, not only data collection. So as I said already, data collection and analysis should be a preliminary stage in any project before deciding about its for its wide impact. Data collection should be the first priority that has to be given in any field, and even in water management.
Yeah. So So I think that was beautifully said by Mr. Arjun when he pointed out about the different tools that can be used in data collection and how important data is. So one fact is data collection, and the other is analysis of the data. And the tools that are used for data collection can help. Some of them can also help in the analysis of the data. Very beautifully said. So now we move to the next question, that is to Mr. Suyash Mishra. So, how technology can help in water supply and distribution? Kindly cite examples from Indian context.
Okay. I'll try to speak to this as best as I can. But I just want to also reiterate couple of points around data that was just mentioned by Mr. Arjun. I think it's, and he said this initially as well, I think one key thing that is kind of missed in the broader landscape of ML and AI and all of these things is how decision ready is the data, right? Sometimes data collection for data collection's sake becomes a paradigm, and that I think is something that we should guard against. And one way to do that is to go back to the basics of environmental science and engineering and all these disciplines that we have already existing knowledge and expertise, and then build on that. All right. In terms of distribution, I think in India's situation, with I think it was in the news recently, with the exception of Orissa, who have done like this almost miraculous type of project where they are providing drinking water quality standard water to I forget the statistics, but you can probably look it up. They are basically managed to connect hundreds of thousands of villages or something like that, and tap water which has is up to drinking water quality, which is kind of unheard of in developing countries, right? This whole drinking water quality in the tap that you open at your house is primarily been a reserve of developed nations. So I don't know too much about that, but I'm trying to learn about that myself. It's on my learning list. But other than that, I think across India, in addition to some of the major river dam-based schemes, which primarily supply water for Mr. Sunil was alluding to it earlier, irrigation for agriculture. As far as supply networks within cities are concerned, I think India is mostly dependent on groundwater. So the networks as such are not what exist in other countries, right? In most other nations, the cities have, not most other nations, Western nations, the city basically provides the water, right? And you open the tap and you can drink it. Again, there have been a lot of challenges around that. We saw some of the issues around that model play out in Flint in the US over the last couple of years, where there was lead, basically one of the most toxic substances possible being found in their pipes, because previously they used to use lead for insulating against the pipes freezing over in winter and all those kind of things. It also brings into the Orissa example, as well as on the positive side, as well as the Flint example on the kind of, I want to say, challenge or negative side. Brings into very sharp focus the societal aspect of water. So we've kind of talked a lot about the environmental aspect of water, but there's like a huge societal aspect. There's also cultural and heritage aspects of water. We have looked at how you have all our traditional groundwater wells. I'm forgetting what they are called, the step wells, right? And there's a huge movement now around restoring these medieval step water wells, particularly in northern India, but also in southern India with the temple tanks and things like that. So there is a lot of existing cultural knowledge and know-how, particularly around groundwater and rainwater, which I think also are very high on the sustainability and regeneration parameters, right? It's actually not very efficient or sustainable to just treat a whole lot of water to drinking water standards and just pipe it to everybody at home. So I think India is moving towards one rediscovering all the extremely sustainable regenerative practices that we had from the past, and then marrying it to learnings and mistakes from the West, but also leapfrogging and applying some of the latest cutting edge technologies which have been discussed already. So I think India that way, as long as we find this right balance between regulation, risk, and regeneration, will continue to lead in this sector. In fact, in the coming years and decades.
Very tightly said, sir. In fact, your example of US brought to my mind the problem of arsenic being present in the drinking water in many parts of Calcutta, and people there are saying still drinking that water, because if they don't drink water, then they cannot survive. I mean, water is so vital that you have to drink the water to survive, and if there's contamination in it, then again you there's a choice. You can't survive without water, but with a contaminated water you can maybe live few more years. So that is the kind of a choice that people make. And also water is so important that there are many these villages which because of non availability of water, people actually start moving towards cities when there's no water available in those villages. So this shows the whole gravity of the situation, and I'm sure technology and using our past experience and knowledge can really make a difference. So my next question goes to Mr. Sunil. Please enlighten us on latest water purification and treatment methods, and also how big is the market in this sector.
Just adding a few more points to the previous question,
Yeah.
there's the new thing that I came across when I went to one of the conferences. There's one of the company that is planning to redistribute the waste treated water that is mandatory, something for every apartment or a community that has to treat water. So usually it's always excess. Okay, it's always excess. So that is either going waste or into the drains that they want to redistribute in a single colony itself. So it is still not in a practical thing, but the idea whole itself was a fantastic thing in a miniature version of redistributing the used water, at least for gardening purposes. We had a very harsh summer. Last 2024 was very bad for Bangalore. Could have seen across in every newspaper every other day people fighting for water. So I visited multiple places, but there people were more concerned about people. Some rich people were still using water for the fresh drinking water for gardening. Okay, so that shows the gap that we have. And right after summer, I visited one of the conferences where this thing was put up, and I was really interested in knowing more. So I think they are in the prototype model, and I wish them they do this so that we don't face such harsh scarcity of water in future. So coming to the purification and treatment methods that we have that we are advancing towards. The As I mentioned earlier, one of my interests, more interest is also in nanotechnology. Okay, this is something which can do wonders, is what I believe, and there is so much scope of improvement also, which is being done across the world, where nanoparticles are like the silver, copper, such as silver and copper. No? These actually purify in the molecular level. That is the beauty of these nanoparticles, and they also work efficiently in heavy metals. Why I mentioned this is one of the core interested subject for me is that because when we work on water body restorations in the industrial belts, no, our major effluents are heavy metals, which cannot be biologically treatment. It's very difficult to treat them biologically with the present technologies that we have. So this is where we want more of the people to work on removing and extracting these heavy metals for the purification, at least to some extent, for the purification of water. So we also have this membrane bioreactors that we are presently using. It's basically like combining the biological treatment. Anytime we are using microbes, it's safe and sound unless we are using some chemicals. So we should always try to integrate, as Suyash sir in the initial he mentioned about biotechnology. So that is the future that we are going to work on, where we are using bio and also the living organisms to work with technology to give us better outputs in any of the segments. But here they play a very vital role. So here again, this membrane bioreactors play a vital role in this municipal solid waste. When bio comes into play, where there is some organic material that can be actually used by these actually purified by these microbes that we are going to introduce. And municipal water that we have, sewage water, has basically more than 50% of water is organic. It has organic material. That is what forms as the muck or the sludge in the urban water bodies that we are seeing presently. And we also have this oxidation processes that we are using widely. They're increasing now. We are trying to increase the amount of oxygen present in water so that microbes live, multiply, and also work on this organic material to reduce the odor, and also cause various diseases related to water. And we have solar water disinfections that we are using, like using solar energy and UV rays to kill these pathogens in a very small quantity, where this predominantly works better in the rural areas, where the amount of pathogens are comparatively less than in the tier 1 cities like Bangalore. And we are also working on desalination technologies. That is, we have this Nemili plant and also Minjur plant in Chennai that actually work on reverse osmosis, where we are converting seawater into potable water in order to reduce the dependency of groundwater that is rapidly increasing in all the metro cities across India. We see this like Bangalore, Chennai, Mumbai. We see this pattern happening. Okay, so whatever, like the tier 2 cities, which if they are not taking an action on these, which will reach what Bangalore reached last year, they'll reach in another 5 years or so, or less than that too. So these technologies are being used across to efficiently manage water. And we are seeing a lot of other new research based technologies that are coming in, which are in prototypes. That one example is that there is a team of scientists working in IASC Bangalore, where I happen to be, and they're going to bring out the prototype basically to work on the solid municipal sewage water, where the present conditions of our STPs are not up to that standards, and the efficiency is very low compared to the amount that we are spending and energy that we are using presently. And coming to the market size, what can I say? Like, this is the future where people have to jump into, invest, and bring in more technologies, because uh, India, with such rapid growth and with our expansion of population, no, there is always a scope for another 100 years. We can say that there is a scope for to work in this sector, especially water, whether it's treatment or purification, both the sectors, there is so much of scope. With a recent trend, I came across to see that there is an annual compounding growth of almost 12% every year. And Arjun sir can be a better person who works on the markets to see who will have a better idea about this growth. Talking overall, the major thing is we need more players to come into this and solve the problems one by one as soon as possible. And also, there are a lot of PPP models that are working presently, where we need more of those models to work with the government and also citizens to bring out bridge that gap that we have between the policymakers and the community, where all the data is put at a place and find the right solution that is required.
True, very true. So there has to be an amalgamation of the latest purification methods, the latest technological developments in treatment, water treatment. Along with that, the we have to also see to it that the people see a scope in it, and they also venture into this market and start working in this area, because a lot is needed, because we have a lot of dependency on groundwater, and groundwater is not being replenished at the rate it is being used. So we are on about to face a big crisis in the near future, and everyone has to work towards this, and has to know what has to be done for better use and management of water. So now my next question goes to Arjun sir. How important is water quality monitoring, and what are the latest technological means for doing the same?
Water quality monitoring is a very important aspect in water management. Uh, Without knowing the one is the required water quality and the water quality that is being supplied, it is not possible to meet the requirement of the people. So it may be for a potable purpose or even for a non-potable purpose and industrial uses. So water quality monitoring plays a very important role, no doubt about it. And water quality monitoring is being developed in India from various stages. Earlier, we were very much dependent only on laboratories, so we have to send to lab to wait for the results, and after that only we were able to take the decision. But nowadays, we are having good water quality sensors for different applications, like pH, turbidity, DO, BOD, COD. So there are, and even there are now there are many advanced meters are also there available for even nitrogen, and even for other ions also, ionic determination also. So water quality monitoring is getting developed in India in a very good pace, and I think it is very essential also to check the water quality at each stages. It is not that we just measure the water quality at one level and supply it. Whether we should also ensure that whether the end user is getting the required and desired water quality. So that is a very important thing. So for that, the online meters or online analyzers are the ones that helps to understand that. That is one thing, because we know, even though the municipalities are treating the water and supplying to us, we still install RO in our homes. So this is for the fear that they may not be doing it properly, and we don't know what is the water quality. So that is a big gap that we can see here. So we are not yet ready to believe on the public water supply distributions. We are very sure that it is somewhere or other place it is contaminated. So first of all, in that water quality monitoring, that transparency is something that is very important to be brought into the people, to know that the end user what water quality they are getting, and whether it is can be directly used or not, so that they can take the decision and work accordingly. Because even this also helps reduce the water consumption, because these household ROs are one of the bigger users of water. They waste a lot of water, even though it can be directly used. In a lot of places the water TDS and hardness are very low, where for example in Mysore and even for Bangalore, where Kaveri water is coming, it's very less, but still people use the RO, because just to be sure that it is good in quality. So that it will also have impact on that. So that aware one is creating awareness about water quality, and having suitable infrastructure for water quality monitoring is also very important, to ensure that the end user is happy and they can use it for a long term. And there are many water quality analyzers or monitoring systems are available now in the market itself. So, like one is the IoT and smart sensors that are being used to collect the basic parameters like maybe pH, turbidity, temperature, and other contaminants. So these are IoT based sensors that can be installed in any location, even in a distribution system also, which continuously measure the water quality and transfer it to the maybe a centralized place where it can be continuously analyzed. That is one thing. And for a larger water bodies, the satellite and drone based remote sensing is being used to measure the water quality. And even I had come across one topic of hyperspectral imaging. So hyperspectral imaging is usage of high end cameras to analyze the water quality of water bodies like maybe lakes or river, so which helps to understand what type of contaminants that are present in the water without even sending the water to analysis, or even without using some online sensors also. So this is one of the very advanced way of water quality monitoring. And also there is one more trending topic is there, that is on LOC technology, or it is called as lab on a chip technology. So these are small maybe small sensors which can be carried very easily, or a miniature devices we can say. So these do the tests on a real time basis. So this can be carried by any person also, or even directly used in the industries. We need not to wait, we need to invest too much money on online sensors, or we need not to send to lab to wait for the result for 3 or 5 days. So these can be used to detect pathogens or heavy metals within a very short time, even in minutes also. So that is one thing. And as already Mr. Sunil ji said, so the nanotechnology and biosensors, these are again another water quality monitoring tools that are being used for the water quality measurement. So like for example, there are nano biosensors that are being used for heavy metal detection. So that is one example of usage of biosensors and nanotechnology. So like this, there are many water quality monitoring tools are available and technologies are available now. So it is very important to first understand what needs to be measured, where it needs to be measured. Based on this, the right tool or right monitoring system can be adopted by the even maybe the government or even by private people, which helps to get a very insightful data about the water quality, and that can be used for water consumption reduction also. Having good quality of water can be directly used in some places without having much treatment, or without even passing through RO. So these are the ways in which the water quality monitoring is already evolved, and the water quality monitoring can be used in any place. And even the water quality monitoring, as I already said, plays a very important role in water management, especially in reduction of water consumption, and also to ensure that the water quality intended by the end user is met. And once the end user is sure about it, uh, the end user will be always ready to use the water.
Yes, very true. So, an awareness has to be created, and if suppose a small portable devices can be created, which can help monitor the quality of the water, and along with that, an awareness is created what on what parameters the water quality has to be monitored. Then people will not waste the water when they make the water run through RO system, because a lot of water gets wasted, and they might not be knowing even the water that they are using for RO might be fit to drink or use as well, because they do not have the trust in the government supply system. So awareness and trust are the key elements that have to be looked into. So now we move to the next question that I have for Mr. Suyash Mishra. The flood and drought are major concerns in our a concern in our nation. So, what role can technology play in this area?
Okay. So I think that is definitely a very current topic of discussion. We are all kind of living through the extremes of climatic conditions that everybody's experiencing, not just in India but across the world. I think in the context of GIS, and Mr. Arjun was referring to remote sensing, hyperspectral sensors, and things like that. Is integrated watershed management. We talk when we're talking about water management, we have to talk about watersheds. I think the bringing back to basics, right, of environmental science, of geology, of hydrogeology in this context, all these things should form of any risk mitigation, resilience systems that we built out, whether it's for drought or whether it's for floods and things like that. I think that's a huge topic, and you could probably do an entire panel on just droughts and floods. I think on one side you have very large governmental plans and schemes which have kind of been in the public domain of discussion, like interlinking of rivers and things like that. Again, I'm not too very sure from my understanding whether that would really be the right way to move ahead. But again, there are different pressures which particularly governments have to deal with. So again, we really haven't seen anything happen concrete on the ground, though there are a lot of plans which keep getting updated every year. I think we have and making sure we don't do large scale mistakes. Like, for example, the Chinese have, in some instances, there are some problems which are coming to light with some of their mega scale projects. The US, as you might know, over the last couple of years has been, in fact, demolishing dams, large dams on rivers, because they have been basically decimating the fish populations, and they've been depleting groundwater. The quality is a huge problem. Silting up of these old dams is, again, if they're not cleared of vegetation, they become a CO2 source. There's all kinds of issues with all of those things. So I think this there's a term used in earth system science, which is polyscalar approach, which is using the right scale of technology response for the problem, right? So, and kind of harking back to the integrated watershed piece, I think there are several useful technologies which can be used on the smaller scale, but I think they should always be contextualized in the scale of the watershed, because that is the reality of our real world, our planet out there, right? Like, we all live in different watersheds, whether we are aware of it or not. So yeah, I think that's going to be a key factor moving ahead. I think this is, like I said, I'm just very cursorily brushing on this subject. This can be a discussion all by itself. So.
Yeah, true. It's a vast area to look into, but definitely technology has a role to play, and a lot is being already done in this direction. And along with that, as rightly said, there are a few disadvantages also of big dams and all, and we have to look into that as well. So my next question goes to Mr. Sunil. What role technology can play in creating public awareness as well as engagement when it comes to water? Sir, you're muted, sir.
Sorry. This again is a very vast topic. Brushing on few things, technology actually plays a very important role in creating public awareness and engagement in water management. Basically, by enhancing the communication or providing real time data, as Arjun sir said, and also fostering this community participation, which is very vital. Only when we only when the community feels connected to any of this water resource, that is when they're going to protect it and use it efficiently, know the value of it to a certain point. So what we are facing presently is that you open the tap, you know, every day morning you're going to get water. Okay, you're not going to worry where the water is coming from and how much efforts and how much energy is put into for that water to come to your doorstep. Okay, that is a thought, something that has to be given, which I know for sure has to be done through the digital platforms, like for in outreach and also education, like creating an awareness programs on social media, and also like mobile apps that are going to provide education on the wastewater or water resource management, like the water saving tips. We have seen nowadays like a lot of ads coming from the central government. Okay, that has to be like, I'm not asking the government to multiply it, so each and every person on social media can be an influencer, starting from our own homes, can create a lot of impact that way, because we are anyways in our generation, we are more used to be on the social media. So that's a great platform for us to give this positive inputs, uh, from the education perspective and also the outreach perspective, and and also having an open access online platforms for like the real time data, groundwater data or consumption patterns, that will tell us like how much are we consuming per month or per day, where we have an average of 110 liters is what I think that we have as per our statistical data per person per day is that we use the national average I'm talking about. So that is where we will come to know that how much we are consuming. That is a few things, and also a lot of private players, corporates, and also governments have started having these incentives for this conservation and also these awards, which actually will push more people in taking up such steps, where at least they'll start learning about the water resource management. Talking from the environment perspective, here particularly we're talking about water. It includes everything when I talk about conservation. So by having a competition, something, when we have data we can compare. Okay, the as
Yes.
said by the other two speakers here, that those are things. And also I strongly believe that school is where it should all start, and house and school are the two places where it should all start. So they have recently, I've seen in few schools they have actually started a water module all by themselves. So that is really an amazing move that they have done. So there they talk about conservation, water management, and the sources and everything. That's really that should be scaled up, is what I feel, so that it reaches every kid, where they start questioning their elders, and that might also change a lot of things at home.
Yes.
And also coming we have this one big example that we have is that we have this mission Pani by News 18 and Harpic, that uses telling digital storytelling and social media to spread awareness on water conservation. This was earlier. Now a lot of other players are also there, who are including the Jal Shakti ministry also recognizes people who are working in this water sector. So that actually, as I told, will push more people to come forward to work in this sector and bring out better technologies and the persons on the ground to implement it, so that overall we are as a nation moving forward, in the treatment or purification of this water and management of water basically.
Wonderfully said. In fact, it sums up all, and this is how we should try to create awareness. And home and school are two important places from where children learn, and they are our future. So that should also be taken seriously, and water module, as you said, has been started by a few schools. It should be scaled up. Beautifully said. So and now my last question to all the panel members is, how technology can impact water conservation, and what roles should be taken by the government to expedite the process? So, what role can government play in expediting the process? Any panel member can answer it.
I can start
Yeah.
if I also have a couple of observations from the previous discussions. So we'll quickly, very quickly, I know we're coming up on the top of the hour. So you mentioned arsenic pollution. I've actually done a lot of work there. I was there for months together in that area, Durgapur and all of that. And this was part of initially World Bank funded project, and then later the government of India took this up. And this is you can find the report still on CPCB's website. This is part of the NPRPS, the National Program for Rehabilitation of Polluted Sites, primarily industrial sites. And arsenic was like a huge focus of study, and that's where I did a lot of my work in human health risk and things like that. The idea was that at some point we would develop soil and groundwater standards for India, but that kind of got lost somewhere. But at least the guidelines still exist. They are available online, and if you look for NPRPS, you can find them online. And that also touches upon the huge area of chemical pollution, which is a whole new a whole entire universe in itself. Speaking very quickly to what Mr. Arjun was saying, building trust, I think, is important. I can quickly take the example of Thames Water, which is like the public supply company in London, and they do 500,000 lab tests, and all that data is available online, and all that. So I think that building of the water industry or the environmental industry in India is also important. We are pushing for entrepreneurship and all of that. And I think to your question, what the government should be doing, I think the government's role as an arbitrator of of setting standards is very important. And I believe the Bureau of Indian Standards is now kind of moving in this direction. I think they have some working groups and they're hiring folks to start working in the water quality sector. And I think they're going to come up with standards and things like that, which levels the playing field for private sector, as well as reduces uncertainty in terms of compliance, risk, all of those things. So I think the role for the government is to kind of set the standards, remove uncertainty, provide for platforms. Like they've built digital platforms. I think we need platforms for water and environment as well. And these are things that the government can definitely facilitate. Thanks.
Definitely. Yes.
Government government is an so the government is a very important player in this. So since this water sector is directly related to public more than private, so government intervention and government's initiatives are the ones that really drives this market, I can say, or this sector. And like for water conservation, government is doing, to some extent it's doing some good job, but there is still a lot to be done. Like as Mr. Sureshji already said, one is developing the standards is a very important. That's, I think, the first step. And next step is to understand or to make a detailed guideline about the technologies available or the new inventions that are coming in, and government may be supporting those new technologies in one or the other way, maybe with finance or with the reachability to people, and even to incentivizing industries who are performing very good, or even the public sectors who are performing very good in this water conservation or water management, which will actually help the others to come to that level, to maybe to the top 2 or 3 level, to ensure that their city or even their industry is already getting recognition. because I see a lot of industries now who try to maybe uh, uh, try to apply for the competitions of related to water management or water awards, so that it brings a good recognition to them. So it is not, they are not doing that water conservation not because of the only for the awards, but finally it helps them to get that recognition. So obviously when a human gets recognition or any company gets recognition, they are more motivated to do that. So like that, even government can do it. There are a lot of industry bodies like CII, ASSOCHAM, or any many others are doing this water awards and all. So government has also started it, but I think they can even do it in a bigger scale, and maybe have it in district level or state level also, so that that will have a more motivation to the people, or to even public and private sector, to implement the best available technologies and the best available options for the water management and conservation.
Yes. Mr. Sunil, would you please add something?
So first and foremost thing, that is definitely a policy gap that is there, where they are the biggest policymakers. Uh, what they, I mean, not criticizing a particular government, like what is there on paper and what happens on the ground are totally two different things. I'm a person on the field from past 4 years, so what I get as a document that I get out of the government office to where I go onto the site, it's totally different. Okay, there's a lot of loopholes that has to be closed in every sector, as particularly in the pollution sector. Okay, that is something very vital. I think it's need of the hour for the major cities. That is one thing. Second thing is, I believe they are the biggest. They can be one of the biggest investors in any of the technology worldwide. So, like we have a diplomatic ties with many of the countries who are much advanced in these technologies. This sector is something where we should be bringing the technologies from those countries here and trying out, and
True.
also help those private companies or the technologies have the proper policy and also the support that is needed for them to work here, execute, and show us that this is also achievable. That is something. And also infrastructure wise, I also feel that we are way behind when it comes to
Yeah.
infrastructure side of it, where government can take up more initiatives on the advanced technologies or the infrastructures advanced from we have a lot of private players in India itself, where they have to be like brought to the limelight for them to showcase their beautiful efforts that they have done from a very long time.
True,
And
very
also
true.
public awareness and also digital literacy, more of it to bring in awareness in each and every person, so that everybody feels that just like we are patriotic, we should be patriotic about every natural resource that we have. It's very vital. It's very, very vital. That's what I believe.
Wonderful. So I think that very beautifully adds on to what we have been discussing till now, and rightly, all the points I think have been covered when we talk of what government can actually do, and there's no end to it. But yes, we did get a direction to it. Now there's one question from the viewer. So he's saying that he's a water engineer in Nagpur, and his work is to reduce losses in distribution network. So can you tell me some advanced techniques currently using in India? So distribution losses, how can that, any advanced technology in that direction? Can any of the panel members answer the question?
Not particularly expert in that sector though, but definitely I can request Deepatna Patil to connect up on LinkedIn, where I can give him a lot of leads, where he can have a good discussion with them and come up with the things that they're presently using in Bangalore regarding especially the losses with the leaks of water distribution.
I think even Arjun sir mentioned about how leaks can be monitored through technology. So even that is that being used in India right now, sir?
Yes, but mostly by private players, not much by government players, but there is a good scope for government players also to adopt to these technologies which helps to detect the leakages in the distribution system. There are many startups who are already working on this already. I don't exactly remember the name. There is one startup from I think Hyderabad. He's already working on the tools which can be used to detect water leakages in the distribution in the closer distribution systems. So there are many startups that are working on, and even government also recognize some of them already. They have been given some grant to implement in some the Amrut under Amrut mission also. So that can be considered. I think I can give that company's name offline. I don't remember that name exactly, but I can give that name.
So I think the question of our viewer has been answered. So now we come to the end of this session, and I thank all the panel members for their valuable inputs and also their valuable time for this wonderful session and making it a success, and discussing how what technology can help in water management. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.